Good morning, Wildings. It's time for another intuitive tarot card reading. Today we're going to ask Spirit for channeled messages regarding why are you seeing the readings you're seeing? Yes, let's find out what the higher plan or higher order thinking is around you seeing the readings that you've been seeing, whether that's on your YouTube page, your TikTok page, your Instagram feed, whatever. Let's uncover the hidden lessons or meanings that Spirit just really wants you to uncover. Hey there, Wildings. Welcome to your reading for why are you seeing the readings that you're seeing on your page. This can be for anyone seeing any kinds of readings. We're going to, in this reading, try and unlock some of the deeper messages or hidden meanings or like spiritual paths or trajectories or development that your guides are trying to kind of align you with by showing you the readings that they're showing you. Yeah, so I'm expecting this will be kind of like more for those people that are maybe getting a little bit frustrated by being shown the same things, and maybe it'll be a little bit difficult for your guides to actually illuminate what the exact reason is. So they can send you here, and obviously they have, to help you get a little bit of clearer meaning around why you're seeing what you're seeing. And what's important for you to take away from it, like as a like kind of like higher spiritual lesson, because that is essentially the point of tarot, guys. Like tarot, yes, it can predict the future, and yes, it can like uncover things to you. Like that's part of its like the nature of tarot readings. However, like kind of no matter which way you slice it, essentially tarot cards are a spiritual guide or book or lesson or like culture or like however you want to see it, that's just cut up into 78 cards. So kind of the end game, no matter which way you slice it, is your spiritual development as a being on earth. So kind of no matter what you're seeing, even if it's like love readings or, you know, whatever it is, like every reading is there to grow you and to align you to something, whether that's just like a feeling of like love and hope in that very moment, or if it's like some larger manifestation that your guides are working on with you and for you. So whenever you're ready, go ahead and choose a pile, either pile 1, 2 or 3 for your reading, and wherever your intuition is sending you, I will see you there in a moment. Hey there, pile 1, welcome to your reading. If you chose this beautiful green crystal, then this reading is probably for you. However, as always, take what resonates, leave what doesn't. This is a general reading, so you will need to use your intuition and discernment to understand which messages are for you, which ones are not for you, and where there might be better interpretations of the cards for your specific situation that might deviate from the general or collective energy in the tarot reading, maybe a little bit more. But let's start off with finding out the general themes of your reading, what it is your spirit guides would like you to realize about what they are showing you. Especially in readings, but in general, what your guides are trying to show you. Let's get some general themes for pile 1, please. Can we get general themes for pile 1 in regards to what their guides are trying to show them? Okay, guys, so we have a bit. We have the Moon card, which obviously corresponds to like the feminine and the soul. It can be a little bit to do with shadow work, especially with these other cards that are coming out. I assume that it will be. But it's also to do with Cancer and the 4th house of our like roots and family. We have the solar eclipse card and 44, if that angel number means anything to you. it tends to indicate kind of like new levels of security and stability. But obviously the solar eclipse is a very transformative energy. To me, it definitely reminds me of the 8th house of beginnings and endings. So like kind of Mars and Pluto energy and Scorpio energy. Then we have the Grand Cross, which in astrology indicates kind of like challenge and provocation. And then we also have the Neptune placement, which is associated with the 12th house of the unconscious, the mind, secrets, and any hidden realities that we might not be aware of. It's a very kind of like spiritual and vibey kind of house. And it is ruled by Pisces, which is a water sign. So lots of like kind of watery feminine energy here, and then kind of like lots of challenge with these cards here. But let's see what else we have for you using this traditional tarot. Hopefully we can get some more specific messages. Spirit, could we please have some more for pile 1 in regards to what you would like them to understand? Okay, so we already have a synchronicity with the 4s here, so 44 and 44. If you've been seeing that angel number, then that's probably your guides trying to send you to this reading, or confirming that this reading is probably for you. But let's get some clarification on some of these cards. Could this have clarification on this 3 and 6, please? And the 4 of Swords, please. And the 4 of Cups, please. Okay, pile 1, if you've been seeing a lot of readings about kind of love specifically, that haven't been making a lot of sense to you, because you kind of keep seeing the same reading, or like seeing the same like kind of confirmation, but then nothing's happening, I can tell you that this reading will be the tea. This will be the tea for anyone getting those relationship readings, incoming readings, because what your spirit guides have wanted you to figure out from seeing these readings is they're trying to like inspire a change in you where you're showing up in relationships differently, especially to do with like boundaries, and knowing your worth, knowing what you deserve, and being really clear on what you want and need practically from a relationship, rather than like going into relationships kind of expecting so much more from yourself, like spiritually and emotionally, than what's actually really practical, and also not expecting enough from lovers. So they've wanted you to be able to like rest from relationships, but not rest from thinking about them. Like spirit's like putting these in front of you to like kind of like think about it with distance. So you're distancing yourself from the situation and you're kind of like analyzing it from a different perspective. You're kind of looking at it from more of a soul kind of spiritual level, rather than being so wrapped up in the relationship, because it seems like they definitely want you to transform into like a new phase of how you're showing up in relationships, and it was very, very essential for you to not be in one, but for you to be concentrating on like dynamics in general, but between yourself and other people, but also like maybe what played out with a particular person. Like they really wanted you to focus on that because it was showing you a lot of lessons to do with how you are in relationships in general, and also just like opportunities for you to develop spiritually. And they knew that if they weren't getting you to look at this relationship in particular, but other relationships in general, with a bit of space, then you weren't going to realize what it was that they wanted you to realize. And that had a lot to do with, as I was saying just a moment ago, about you not actually being that fulfilled in relationships, and you kind of like ending up feeling quite isolated and alone in relationships because like you weren't really getting what you needed, and you were also like over giving to the point of exhaustion. But let's see if there's anything else, pile 1, in regards to what your spirit guides wanted you to learn. Yeah, so I think when you're in love, you can be a little bit blinded by love. Like the Page of Cups is like a very youthful, innocent, kind of naive kind of energy, but it's also like an overflowing, abundant kind of love kind of energy. And I think when you're in relationships, you might like be so overflowing with love that it like almost blinds you to some of the practical aspects of the relationship that aren't kind of falling in place how they could be if you were looking at the relationship from kind of like more of a neutral perspective. And so these readings that you're seeing are definitely there to kind of like provoke you and cause this like change and revolution, and maybe like getting frustrated by keeping on seeing them but not ending up in a connection is for a reason. It is to kind of like help with this revolution and change and provocation into kind of like new patterns for you. So it's like definitely got much higher meanings for you to be seeing these readings that you're seeing. Is there anything else? Yeah, Spirit's telling you that you've not been like you've been done dirty in relationships, essentially, like way too much. And this like has been going on for a long time. It probably dates back to childhood or even like past lives. And like you're seeing what you're seeing to kind of call you to A, transform, but also like expect like better from you, from like more of a wise place, rather than kind of like a bit of a like naivety in terms of like thinking that you can give and give and give and give without getting anything in return. Like it's just not realistic, and it's not equal, it's not fair. Do you have anything else for pile 1 in regards to what Spirit wants them to learn from the readings that they're seeing? Yeah, so the Ace of Pentacles is a manifesting card. It's kind of like the peak energy of like manifestation beginning, like when it's very much in a like a complete spirit form. So what your current experiences are trying to align you with is like you manifesting something new in your life, something different, something better for you, and that could only be done by creating this distance and space and evolution between you and relationships, while still kind of looking at them, but looking at them like more critically and understanding kind of how you can show up like for you a lot better. Yeah, I think Spirit wants you to have much more pure relationships, because you do have a pure heart, and there's a lot of answers that I think, especially in this time, you've been able to find within yourself, that you wouldn't have been able to find if you were distracted by a relationship. Like if you were in a relationship, I'm getting that like if you were in one, you probably would get pretty consumed by that, and maybe it would sway you in one way or another, so that you weren't really seeing the situation with the same like pure and innocence and neutrality that you are right now. Yeah, so this whole thing is designed to bring you a new beginning, like a new way of approaching relationships, and for you to start accepting like what it is you truly deserve and not accepting anything less, because you have accepted way less than what you deserve in the past. You have not been discerning like potentially the right lovers for you, and you've got yourself in some shitty situations, but Spirit is really trying to help you realize that like sometimes pursuing these connections actually does more damage than good. Like sometimes it actually damages your ability to like just do life essentially. And also like you're kind of like holding on to things when they really need to be let go of, or just like shifted or changed. Like you're kind of like asking too much from yourself in terms of like being way more resilient than what is like kind of humanly possible. And also this space I think is about like kind of grounding after some shitty cycles so that you can definitely begin again and not get yourself as in as many sticky situations. And I think like while you were in these sticky situations, it was actually hard for you to like especially love yourself, but also hard for you to love the situation, and sometimes hard for you to love the people that you were in connection with, because there was like resentment building up that maybe you weren't always aware of. And so by like initiating these new beginnings, you're actually going to be able to bring way more love into like every situation that you get into. Because you'll be like entering into connections from a different place, a more evolved place. Yeah, it's time for you to like work through a lot of your fears when it comes to connection. So maybe some of this like kind of overgiving has something to do with like abandonment wounds or like something like that, or rejection wounds, or you know, whatever it is for you. But that's something for you to like kind of realize and bring love to. And yeah, so kind of like what I've been saying this whole time, this is about looking at the big picture for you. And like Spirit really wants you to know right now that like all of this that's going on right now, helping you realize a lot of stuff, is all like about the divine protection of you and the divine protection of your relationships and the evolution of your relationships and your spiritual development. Like it's all kind of happening for higher purpose reasons, not for anything inherently like negative. But let's get some affirmations for you, pile one, in regards to what you can take with you moving forward. My motivation is fueled by the thrill that my goals will bring. I'm ready to create my dreams. I think Spirit right here is trying to kind of realign you in terms of getting you to like focus on creating something different for sure, and for you to kind of like fill your cup back up in terms of like being motivated to actually create the things that Spirit wants you to create and wants you to have and wants you to experience. Because maybe at the moment, like, or maybe in the past, like your relationships had been super taxing, so your motivation was depleting too quickly for you to actually create what you really wanted and deserved. And yeah, I think this affirmation is definitely about really good things coming your way based on all this work that you've been doing. But I think I'm going to leave that here, pile one. I hope this answers all of your questions in terms of why you've been seeing what you've been seeing, and I hope it brings you some comfort and relief. But if you resonated with this reading, please drop me a comment and let me know. And if you would like to see me on your page more often, please like, comment and subscribe so that I will reappear very, very soon. Until then, ciao. Hey there, pile two, welcome to your reading. Let's find out what Spirit has to say about why you've been seeing the things you've been seeing, whether that's readings or whatever it is. As always, take what resonates, leave what doesn't. This is a general reading, so there will be specific messages here for specific people, and some interpretations of the cards that will need to be altered to fit your situation when your particular situation deviates from the general collective in this reading a little bit. Okay, so we're first getting general themes of what your guides want you to know about what you've been seeing. So we've got the water element and the first house, and then the north node of life's purpose. So the first house is associated with Aries energy, and the Mars placement has to do with our passion and drive, and our body and self and identity. And then the water element is obviously like a very sensitive, intuitive, kind of spiritual, psychic kind of energy. It's associated with Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces energy. And then we also have the North Node, which indicates our life purpose, whatever it is that we're destined to do in this life, on this cycle, like whatever we came here to do, essentially, in this lifetime. But let's get a little bit more specific using these traditional tarot cards. Spirit, what do you want pile 2 to know about why they've been seeing what they've been seeing? What do you want pile 2 to know about why they've been seeing what they've been seeing? What do you want pile 2 to know about why they've been seeing what they've been seeing? Can we clarify the Magician card, please? I've been feeling a little bit stuck on my words at the moment, so I'm sensing for a fair few people here that you are feeling like really, really stuck when it comes to what you're supposed to be learning and understanding from what you're seeing. But hopefully things will start to unlock. Can we get... Thank you. And can we clarify the Strength card as well, please? Got quite a bit there. Pile 2, Spirit has wanted you to unlock psychic abilities from whatever it is that they've been showing you. They've wanted you to strengthen your psychic abilities, strengthen your intuition, and let go of a lot of the stories that have gotten in the way of you really being able to use your intuition to kind of like channel spirit in a very kind of like unbiased way. So I think this definitely has to do with connecting you to your life purpose. And you've probably seen like a mixture of readings. Like there's not really any suggestion to say that the people watching this have seen anything in particular. Like I think there'll be a real mix of people here. But definitely what you've been seeing, whatever you've been seeing, it's to do with connecting you with your life purpose. And part of what you will be doing in your life purpose is really connected to your psychic abilities, your intuition, and like all of that kind of stuff. So it's about like creating this new era of like power and clarity and action for you, and removing some of the uncertainty that inhibits your clarity about reading a situation, because of like any like stories that are really blocking you from seeing the situation as it is. So the King of Swords shadow can be a lot to do with getting stuck in story rather than seeing a situation as it is. And the Hierophant can indicate that maybe the stories have like come from like your childhood, what you've picked up when you were young, that are kind of like clouding the way that you're seeing some things in life. It's clouding your like pure alignment to your psychic abilities and your sensations and your intuition. And maybe blocking you a little bit from the sensations in your body as well. Maybe it's kind of like there's some things that have been triggering like fight, flight, freeze, fawn mode in you. So essentially you're not necessarily like in your power in these situations. And so you've been seeing what you've been seeing to kind of like awaken all of that stuff in you and to try and draw it out and to try and align you with it and try and like get you like more on this life purpose path. Because it does seem that you have like an excess of like natural gift that definitely needs to be shared with the world. And Spirit's really wanting you to like set on this new path. But it seems like there was just a lot of stuff that it was trying to clear in you first, like potentially not having the strength and faith in yourself. That 10 can indicate like definitely like getting lost in like story, because the sword suit is like a mental suit. So the 10 of Swords, like in this case, I'm going to interpret it as getting lost in story rather than what it is. And maybe like, and especially with this 7 of Cups clarifying it, because 7 of Cups upside down can indicate like our illusions, which have come from like kind of like old stories from our past, from our childhood. So like definitely being very clouded by story, and being very disconnected from your intuition and like divine feminine energy. Like the 9 of Cups essentially indicates kind of like fulfillment of the cup suit, which is like psychic gifts, love, emotion, and like kind of all of that sort of juicy stuff, like this kind of like real sensing energy. So yeah, all of these coming in reverse, like this is basically telling me all the things that Spirit was trying to get you to look at and clear and like reset by showing you the readings that it's been showing you. Yeah, because like, so the Pentacle suit's kind of like a manifestation suit, and the 7 in particular can be to do with like kind of like reaching some sort of like strength or victory or kind of like spiritual development when it comes to what we're manifesting in life in like kind of more of a practical sense. Often it has to do with like money and success, but it can be to do with like anything that's like that you're really working on manifesting. It seems like you're really blocked from manifesting something that was aligned with your life purpose. And so I think what you've been seeing actually isn't really that relevant. That's why I'm not getting any strong indicators one way or the other of like what you've been seeing. But definitely the goal of what Spirit's been trying to kind of like shake out of you is like definitely reconnecting you to this like kind of watery energy. I'm getting that like what Spirit was like kind of intending was for you to be inspired to pursue more of your like gifts and life purpose by seeing what you've been seeing. But maybe I'm also getting from Spirit that maybe it backfired a little bit. Like maybe it kind of like made you doubt everything, rather than kind of like making you sure of yourself. So maybe that's why you're here. Maybe this is Spirit kind of like trying to hit the reset button and trying to gain, like create much more clarity for you. Because it seems like kind of like what was happening previously was maybe like kind of getting you there, but for some reason, like maybe you're getting a little bit off track. Yeah, you were definitely lost. So I think definitely the reason why Spirit brought you here now was to kind of just like do a big reset about what it's been trying to show you, because, and I think that's maybe why I've been a little bit stuck and muddled when I've been trying to do this reading, because like the kind of intention as far as Spirit saw it, like was kind of like not manifesting the way that it wanted it to. So yeah, definitely sending you to this reading is a big kind of reset button, because you're getting, like, Spirit was like struggling to send you on the right path. You're getting a little bit lost and maybe frustrated and stuck. But yeah, this reading's definitely here to like help you find that reconnection to the sensing, to your life purpose. And like, yeah, really understanding yourself as a very psychic, intuitive energy. Yeah, so Spirit really wants you to balance all this energy out within yourself in the foreseeable future, and kind of surrender to Spirit's path. Maybe some of the reason why you were kind of a little bit stuck and had to be sent here was because you were struggling to surrender to the messages that it was, the Spirit was trying to deliver to you. I know that might sound a little bit harsh, but sometimes you got to hear it so that next time Spirit's trying to realign you, you'll be more willing to kind of go with the flow, and then it won't get so sticky and hard for as long. Do we have anything else? Yeah, I think Spirit's definitely saying that in the past maybe you struggled to discern what was story and what was intuition, and that's definitely not your fault. That might be from childhood stuff, like being invalidated for your intuitions. Often as kids we intuit things and then we say it, and our parents, trying to protect us, will invalidate it and say no, that's not right, and like get us to essentially doubt our intuition and like get really off track with it. So I definitely wouldn't say that it's your fault that that's where you got to in terms of this discernment, but Spirit's definitely asking you to definitely practice a lot more discerning between what's story and what's intuition. Something that might be super helpful is meditating. It helps with our like metacognition and like really witnessing our thoughts, so that the difference between story and intuition can become a little bit clearer. The answers you need are coming. The energy is gaining momentum. Yeah, so I think your psychic abilities are definitely gaining momentum, and the stronger those skills within you get, the more answers you're going to uncover. This is probably kind of the tip of the iceberg. There's probably like a lot more to come for you. So Spirit's just warning you that like soon there'll be a lot of answers coming from within. Like you'll have a lot and a lot and a lot to process coming from within very, very soon. So keeping open to that, it's really important. Do we have any affirmations for pile 2? Please. Any affirmations for pile 2 to help them in this time? Any affirmations for pile 2 to help them in this time? So we have, my life is filled with serenity and harmony. I exist. I am at peace. Sorry. So I think Spirit's definitely trying to guide you on perhaps more of a peaceful path forward in terms of like uncovering all of this. I think maybe there's been a lot of stickiness and frustration. And yeah, definitely Spirit's trying to get you to move through this in much more of this kind of Queen of Cups, calm, intuitive like energy. So affirm you're in peace, you're in serenity, you're in harmony, you're in surrender. And yeah, I think that will help enormously getting you set on your track for your life purpose and fulfilling that. But I think I'm going to leave that here, pile 2. I hope you got everything out of this reading that you really wanted and needed. If the reading resonated, please drop me a comment. I would love to hear it. And in any case, if you could like, comment and subscribe to keep me on your feed, I would really, really appreciate it. But until then, ciao. Hey there, pile 3. Welcome to your reading for what your spirit guides want you to know regarding what they've been showing you. So if you chose this beautiful crystal, then this reading is probably for you. However, as always, take what resonates, leave what doesn't. This is a general reading, meaning that there will be some messages here for specific people, and there may be messages that could be interpreted a little bit differently or better for your situation. So just coming into a general reading using your intuition and discernment, which is essentially the most important part of a reading. But let's get the general themes of what Spirit wants you to know right now. So we have a bit of a synchronicity with this Venus and Libra card both coming out. So yeah, both these cards fit in the 7th house of partnerships. Libra is ruled by Venus, and they're, yeah, definitely a very similar energy. We also have Gemini energy, which is to do with the 3rd house of communication, and it's ruled by Mercury, which has to do with the mind, and yeah, intellectualizing and analyzing things. Obviously it has to do with more of the communicative part of Mercury, with the more analytical part of Mercury coming out in the Virgo placement. The 3rd house also can be to do with like school as well. But what I find very interesting with these cards is this is like definitely heavy love reading, but it's also heavy kind of like partnership and dualism energy. Like Gemini is obviously represented as twins. So it's like there's two scales, and Venus is about bringing two together in love. So I think this is going to be a very interesting reading, given that this is everything that's come out so far. But let's get a little bit more clarity using this traditional tarot. Can we have a little bit more about why pile 3 has been seeing what they've been seeing? This is more balance. Okay, can we get a little bit more about why pile? Can we get a little bit more about why pile 3 has been seeing what pile 3 has been seeing, please? We get a little bit more. Thank you. Can we clarify this Temperance card, please? Can we clarify? Thank you. Can we clarify this 8 and 9 of Cups, please? And this last row as well, please. Okay, pile 3, I'm gonna be real with you. You've been seeing what you've been seeing because genuinely there is an Emperor energy that is coming in that you need to be prepared for. Like, there is no, like, of course there's going to be other messages for other reasons, but the main reason you've been seeing what you've been seeing is because there's a divine masculine that is probably some sort of like divine counterpart energy who's coming back, and you need to be prepared for it. And every reading that you've been seeing is getting you ready to be prepared for this connection. Because yeah, like I'm getting that like you had to part ways for the higher interests of this connection, because it was unbalanced, because your person wasn't stepping into this like King of Wands leadership and visionary kind of energy. But like they were never supposed to be doing that the first time with you. You guys were supposed to kind of like connect and like bring up a whole bunch of stuff in each other so that you could go away and like kind of work on the stuff that was brought up, but work on the part of that stuff that came up about your life before the connection. Like the connection was like rubbing up against you and bringing stuff out in you, but it was all kind of like about your karma and your stuff from your past that needed to be cleared, so that when you re-entered this connection, you could be like completely in love, complete equals, like kind of like what I was talking about before in terms of like all of these kind of representing twos, for you to be kind of like the purest like expressions of two people coming into partnership, and not really having the space for their stuff getting in the way of that. And it was also important for you to like feel real regret and loss and solitude, and like really do this on your own, in order to eventually experience this kind of like new love and connection. You weren't supposed to experience that the first time around. And it was supposed to kind of like make you question if you're pouring into the wrong cup, to kind of like get to the bottom of a lot of the stuff that was going on for you before this connection and that was going on for your person before this connection. Because like it was this separation that created kind of like a trajectory for the two of you to both get on this like path for like abundance and fulfilling your kind of like purpose, but also like being able to be really fulfilled in love, and really fulfilled in like your own emotional world outside of this partnership, so that you could come back in much more harmony and like with much more awareness. Like 3s in Kabbalah Tarot represent the divine feminine, harmony and contemplation. So it's definitely about like when you're in connection with someone, being very metacognitive about what's going on, like being aware of why you're thinking what you're thinking, and how it's impacting the connection. Because this divine masculine is definitely kind of like, I would say, set in terms of returning to you. They definitely desire a new connection with you and are inspired to like kind of restart things with you, which was always kind of like part of the divine plan. And it was also part of the divine plan for you to be not like very clear or sure of that. Like there was a lot of learning for you in the times where you were uncertain. Like spirit needed to kind of like shake up some uncertainty in you so that you could unpack some stuff, because if you had have remained certain this whole time, like you potentially wouldn't have gone into some stuff that you really needed to explore within yourself. Like that might be to do with like boundaries or how you've been treated, or you know, like stuff like that. It could be anything, whatever's coming to mind. Usually probably that has something to do with it. And for a lot of you, it also has to do with like being really secure and stable within yourself first before you can be secure and stable in a connection or just like in any sort of situation. So yeah, it was definitely, everything happened the way that it was supposed to happen. In terms of the divine plan, and you've been seeing everything you've been seeing to essentially get you ready for what spirit has planned for you when you reconnect with this energy. It's going to be like very different the next time around. I'm getting like there's going to be like a lot more, I would say, like this is kind of like the peak of the pentacles, like the peak manifestation card. Like it's going to be kind of like, I'm getting like the peak of what a partnership can really be between two people. And like, that's kind of the work that spirit is inspired to set you on at the moment. Like Spirit really wants you to, like this will be definitely a big part of your life, is your relationship and working on it. Always trust the purity of heart. Look inside your heart and within you to find the answer to your question. Yeah, I think there was a lot that Spirit wanted you to find within before you connected with this person. As I was kind of saying at the very start of this reading, there was a lot for you to learn about who you were before, you entered into this partnership. And like from your childhood and stuff like that. So yeah, the solitude was really important. But no, you've probably been connected this whole time. I'm sensing your person has probably sent you messages in music that you've been hearing. And this could be messages that you've been hearing like anywhere in music, like maybe at the supermarket, or, you know, you're in a store somewhere. Your person's definitely sent you a lot of confirmations in music. I know this has been a very dark time, and probably your separation was maybe a little bit unexpected. Like maybe when you met, you were just like, oh, this is going to be like end game. But Spirit definitely wants you to have faith that it was all part of the plan. It was all part of the divine timing. And it's definitely important that you like reconnected with your heart and like everything that had kind of gone down before you entered into this connection. In order for you to find inner peace and inner balance within yourself, before you entered into partnership with this person for like the long term. Because had you not done that, you would have felt a lot of resistance in this connection, because there just would have been so much stuff from your past that would have come up and like sabotaged it. So it's really important that you have patience through like all of this, so that you can kind of come out the other side like evolved in the way that Spirit was always intending you to evolve, intending for you to evolve. So that Spirit can like set you on this track in this partnership. Yeah, like literally what I've been saying this whole time, it was all about your past not holding you back in this connection, so you could experience the fullness of it. So you can experience kind of like that Nine of Pentacles, peak love that we were talking about before, like pure love, like just pure partnership. So we've got nothing is yet set in stone. I think this is about like in terms of how and when this person will return. Like I'm sensing that maybe there's still like a little bit more, which is why you've been directed to this reading, to gain a little bit of clarity about why you've been seeing what you've been seeing. Because once you see this, there's potentially going to be things for you to unpack and discover and understand now that this has come to light, to kind of like keep you going on this journey, to prepare you for this reunion. So yeah, definitely don't assume that everything's going to happen overnight after you see this. Like you're seeing this because there's still like a little bit for you to unpack and illuminate after you've had all of this kind of like explained. And that you've understood like why you've been seeing what you've been seeing and what it's been preparing you for. So your affirmation is divine energy flows through me. I am a radiant being. So yeah, have faith in that. Come back to that whenever you get a little bit lost or stuck in the future with the journey of this thing. Know that the whole time, like once you take away the messages from this reading, divine energy will be flowing through you and protecting you and guiding you on your path to get you where you needed to go. So be really open and receptive to that, and put out as much as you get from Spirit. I'm also getting, but I think I'm going to leave that here, pile 3. I hope you got everything out of this reading that you really wanted and needed. I hope it brought you the clarity that you really desired. And if you can drop me a comment if this reading resonated, I would love to hear it. But in any case, if you could like, comment and subscribe, that will help me stay on your page. But until then, ciao. Okay guys, that's all I have for you today. My name's Jade Rewilding and I will be on this page delivering intuitive tarot card readings for whenever you need, whenever you're looking for spiritual development or guidance or support or comfort or anything else. So if you can please like, comment and subscribe to keep me on your feed. I would really appreciate that. But until next time, ciao.